Star Trek's great and all, but you know what might just be better? Pizza! Yeah, when I'm not watching and reviewing Star Trek, I'm usually in the kitchen, trying and mostly failing to cook, because that's what all grown adults are supposed to do. Right? So you can only imagine my reaction when I found out Ravenforge were releasing an officially licensed Batlef pizza cutter based on Dan Curry's original designs for the next generation. The Venn diagram was complete. This felt like destiny, almost as if the great koala bear of the universe was looking down on me and smiling. But is it any good? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. I've actually bought from Ravenforge before. Because I'm one of those people, I have a few chef knives, and one of those are one of Ravenforge's really nice Viking blades. They're pretty good, although probably more stylish than actually practical. This is, of course, foreshadowing. I simply had to have this cutter. They got me with all the advertising and the tantalizing product photography. They even got me with the clearly AI generated landing page copy that sells this as a epic fusion of fandom and function, whatever that means. I didn't actually end up buying it though. My partner beat me to it, buying it for me as a Father's Day present. Isn't that nice? She's wonderful, and I'll forever be grateful for her being more than happy with me filling up our house with mountains of this Trek licensed crap. Anyway, in terms of builds, the cutter is essentially a rocker blade with an arched stainless steel edge with plastic handles styled to look like leather grips. But for this review, I didn't want to just unbox it and wave it around. I thought we'd give it a proper test. Any excuse to have pizza, right? So Laura and I made some pizzas from scratch, something we've been doing more often lately as a cheaper and actually far better alternative to takeout. It's great. Give it a go. For the pizzas we made, I decided to cut mine into quarters or quadrants to keep things on brand. I tried explaining that reference to Laura. I thought I was being cool, but she just rolled her eyes at me. She does that a lot. So the cutter works by rocking it back and forth across the pizza, which at first I did find a little awkward. The rocker motion doesn't give you as much leverage as a more traditional wheel cutter, which is what I usually use. Also, despite a sharp blade, I did have to repeat the motion a few times to get a clean cut. This was a particularly crispy base, a little crispier than usual, but it doesn't usually take this long with a wheel cutter. There's also, and I know I'm probably going to sound incredibly picky here, a bit of a design trade-off. In order to make the cutter work, Ravenforge have flipped the Batlef orientation so the handles are where the blade usually is. This of course makes it usable in the kitchen, but the cost of that is that this isn't entirely screen accurate. So if you're looking for a Batlef replica that just so happens to double as something that can slice your pies with, this probably ain't it. So the pros. Well, I think this thing looks great. The design is compromised, but it's still recognizable as the thing it's trying to emulate. And in that respect, I can see this as being a great display piece, something to whip out when your friends come to dinner. It does also actually work, which is more than I can say for most novelty kitchen gadgets that I've come across. And the cons, well, for me, I found it awkward to use compared to a more traditional pizza wheel. The rocker motion doesn't feel as natural, although that might come with practice. Storing it is also a bit of a pain. The shape of it means that you're not going to be able to store it so easily in most of your kitchen drawers. You'll need to display it perhaps on a wall, or you might even need to store it somewhere else entirely, which might be a bit of a pain. Also, at nearly $40, it's not exactly cheap, particularly if you're buying it purely for functionality. So, the big question, would I recommend this Batlef pizza cutter? It's a fun novelty item, it slices pizzas well enough, it looks great on display, and I'm sure it will make a great conversation starter at your next dinner party. But if you're looking for something that's purely practical, I don't know. A standard wheel cutter is just far easier to use, easier to clean, easier to store, and just ultimately more efficient. The Batlef is too bulky for everyday use, and its design, while fun, does come with some compromises. It's not going to replace my usual pizza cutter, but it's a nice thing to have, particularly when I want my pizzas to come with a little more honour. I'm giving Raven Forge's Bat'leth Pizza Cutter a 6 out of 10.
Kapla!
Have you tried this pizza cutter? And if so, what did you think? If you haven't, I'm not letting you off the hook that easily. 1, what's your favourite Klingon episode? And 2, what's your favourite kind of pizza? All important questions here. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Star Trek reviews. And until next time, live long and prosper.